everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my pronunciation practice series, we are completing Unit 2 of our Using the IPA, that is, using the International Phonetic Alphabet. So, we're going to try to do a little review of some things we've done, but we're going to move on to the final task after we've reviewed and try to put together all the skills that we've learned so far. If you weren't in the other classes, don't worry, you'll catch up quickly. So, first, a little bit about me. I'm John Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means when you're not speaking, turn off your microphone so we can keep the classroom nice and quiet. When you are speaking, I want you to tune in to the new words you're learning and everything we learn about pronunciation, to the rules we're going to learn. Use them as actively as you can so I can correct you and give you feedback. Last, but not least, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. And that is all you need to know about me. Let me fix my camera there. Let's say hello to some new faces. So we have, how do I say your name? So it's Della, is that right? You can turn on your microphone again, Della, to say hello.
Hello.
There we
Della.
go. Hello,
Hello,
Della.
I'm Della. How are you, teacher?
Pretty good.
How
Where are you
you,
from,
teacher?
Della?
Hello, I'm from Indonesia.
From Indonesia. Okay, very good. Are you in Jakarta?
Yes, of course, I'm in Jakarta.
Okay, very good. Nice to have you, Della. Let's say hello to
Thank you.
El Hakemi. Am I saying that right?
Hashimi.
Hashimi. Hashimi. And so what do I call you? Because you seem to... Is it El Hashimi? Or Hashemi?
Al Hashimi, yes. Or
El
Hashimi.
Hashimi.
Or Hashimi, you can. That's L.
I can say the L.
Al Hashimi or Hashimi.
El Hashimi. El Hashimi. And where are you from?
I'm from Algeria.
From Algeria. Okay, very good. So, if I know where you're from, I will remember you the next time. I don't know why. I usually do. So, El Hashimi from Algeria, Della from Jakarta, and Daniel from somewhere.
Somewhere in the world.
Salamanca. Isn't it? Salamanca.
Salamanca.
Salamanca. And Johnny somewhere in China, I think. Right, Johnny? Can't remember.
You're right.
No. Am I right?
Originally from China, I'm living in New Zealand.
Yeah, I knew I was wrong.
Partially right.
Johnny is a Kiwi.
How to say theoretical? How to say that word?
Theoretically.
Theoretically, yeah.
Theoretically, a Kiwi. Kiwi, it means you're from New Zealand. I sure hope it's not a derogatory term. I really don't know if they like being called Kiwis, but that's what they tend to be called, Kiwis.
The local New Zealander, they like others to call them Kiwis.
They do? Okay. I wasn't sure if it was a bad thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
So you are at least temporarily a Kiwi. So look, I'm going to share my screen with you because this is our class material, and we're going to try, I'm going to give you the link as well. Whenever you come to class, remember, the class material is always down here below the video chat. But today, I'll give you a link to it as well. If you're new, you can click that link. If you want to open this yourself, I will try to share my screen as well. So, we've been working on pronunciation practice. What have we been working on specifically? Well, you can see the table of contents. We've been using the IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, to help us with specific things. So let's go to a summary. On page 3, you can see I added 2 important things, and I'm going to use these in every class. I'm just going to mute you for a second, Della, because we're getting a lot of noise on your side. But you can turn your microphone back on when you're ready to speak, okay? So, first, I have a link to the last unit if you want to review what we did. Second, I have a mind map, which I'm going to share with you in just a second. It's going to take a minute to open, so I'll open that in the background. But let's talk about what we did in the last class. We focused on the stress in sentences with phrasal verbs. And specifically, we learned that phrasal verb, the preposition, sounds different depending on where it is. So in a sentence like, what's it for? Well, I'll show you this in just a second here. Let me open the mind map first. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to try to add these mind maps whenever we have classes that are in a series. Some of my classes, like the business class and this one, we do several classes on one particular theme. So it's like a unit. And it might be hard to remember everything we've done. So what I'm going to try to do is to give you a mind map which has the major points that you should remember. And if the mind map ever opens, let's try this again. It's not opening. Sometimes it's a little slow. If I can get it to open, I'll show you how to use it. Let's try this again. All right. Well, because I want to show. Ah, here we go. Okay, it's opening now. So the basic idea is that on the mind map, you have key ideas or keywords. All you have to do, try to remember what we did in class, click, and then open. So here, you can see pronunciation practice. Let's go to Unit 2, see what we've done so far. If I click on Unit 2, and I click the F key, I've got the major things that we've done. The sound of the H, linking sounds, W and Y, strong and weak prepositions, and we've done a little work on phrasal verbs. So, for example, we learned that there's a silent H in words like air, honest, and hour. Our H words, like rhyme, are pronounced just R. And finally, the WH words are pronounced W, except for who, which is an H as in Hoover. So there's more than one way to pronounce the H sound. But because we looked at when we say the H and when we don't, that brought up the issue of vowels, A-E-I-O-U. So one of the things we learned is that when you have a word ending in a vowel, let's take the word see, for example, and it ends with a vowel, and the next word begins with a vowel, we can't put two vowels together. So in a word like see, we're adding the y sound. So let's say see Edward. See Edward run. If you say it fast, it's not see Edward, it's y Edward, Yedward, see Edward, see ye Edward, see Edward. If the word ends in a U, like to, and the next word begins with a vowel, can't think of a sentence with a to and a vowel, can you? To eat. There you go. So it's not to eat, to wheat, wheat. It's the w sound, like water, to wheat. Only when you say it fast, of course. We need to link it together when you say it fast. Strong and weak prepositions. Remember I said the who's it for? For is pronounced like it's supposed to. It's strong. Who's it for? Because it's at the end. If it's in the middle, who's up for a beer? It's not who's up for, but for. It's weak because it's in the middle. For example, compare, what's it made of? What's it made of? Of is of, UV. It's made of China, not of, but of. Made of. So when it's not at the end, it's the weak form. And finally, we looked a little bit at phrasal verbs, and what we learned was the stress, the emphasized syllable, the stress, only changes if you have a pronoun. For example, she put them on. There it would change, but look at the other two forms. He's put his shoes on. Put his shoes on. Or he's put on his shoes. The only time it changes is when we put a them instead of shoes. She's put them on. So the preposition on is only stressed in the last case. And those are the things we've looked at in Unit 2. So I'll leave this mind map here. We'll come back to it if we need to. But now our goal, whoops, let's go back to the unit. We focused on phrasal verbs, like I just showed you. You should now know not to stress the phrasal verb. I should say the phrasal verb's preposition, meant to say, unless the pronoun is used in the middle, like I just showed you. That's the last thing we did. Okay, so that's a quick review of everything we've done in the unit, and you can always click on the mind map to go back and remind yourself of those key ideas. What we're going to do today is try to use those in connected speech, in a real situation where you've got to say many things. And the best way to do that, I think, is to take something that you can really hear so you can practice along. You can try it your way and then listen to the original, to take something that's been recorded. And that's what we're going to do. So in today's class, you will take what you've learned in the previous classes of this unit and try to do a film, theater, or television monologue. You're going to try to apply them, I should say. Apply them to film, theater, television monologue. Okay? You'll focus on the H sound and the linking w, y. You're going to focus on those two. You're going to focus on strong and weak prepositions. And I'll be here to help you, by the way. So don't worry about it. I'm going to guide you through it. We did a little work with exclamations. And we did some work with phrasal verbs. So we're going to try to keep all those things in mind when we analyze the monologue. Most importantly, you'll be using the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. And I'll show you that in just a minute. So your job is to map out the pronunciation of the monologue, making notes together with the class, and then practice it. I will record a final version for you to practice it at home, and then we want to hear your version after you've practiced it in the next class. So that's the plan, everyone. I've given you a few choices of monologues, and I got them from this website, the monologue database. We're going to do one together, and then if you like, you can choose one of your own, more interesting one if you like. But we're going to do one together just to show you how to apply everything we've learned. So here we go. I'm going to take the monologue from Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and I'm going to put it here on the screen below. Make it a little bit bigger. And what else do I want to say? I think that's it. This is What's his name? Gary Oldman. Yeah, that's it. Blanked on his name. It's sitting right in front of me. It says Gary Oldman's monologue from Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Did any of you see that movie by any chance?
No,
It's
but I like this actor.
This is a remake of a famous movie from the 60s in a novel, but it was remade recently. I don't know, maybe what, a year ago or something like that? It was remade. And Gary Oldman is a fun actor. Okay, so as a class, we're going to work together to try to analyze this monologue and apply whatever we've learned, even from other units. Okay? Our main thing is use the IPA. At the bottom of this document, you can see the IPA for vowels, A-E-I-O-U, and the IPA for consonants. And you can see that there's 8 types of consonants, 8 types of consonants. And we've learned in the past with different positions in your mouth and different ways to use your tongue and teeth. So, if this is your first class, it's going to seem difficult. But again, I'm going to help you with it, so don't worry. The main thing maybe is the vowels in this case. They take a little more getting used to. So, we'll go back to this in a minute. Let's start to analyze our monologue and then practice it. So the first thing we want to do is let's just read it through, all of us, and make sure that it makes sense. What I'm going to do is give you each a line or two. I just want to hear you speak. And then we'll go back and make sure that it's clear what's actually going on. Okay, so let's divide it up like this. All right, so everyone take a line. Let me just hear you speak. Daniel, you do the first line, please.
I want to talk about royalty. Toby. Control recruit you, didn't he?
Okay, and then Della, second line.
He found you starving in a museum in Vienna. A wanted man. He saved your life, I heard.
Okay, very good. And we're on to, let's see if I can pronounce your name right again. I have to look because I've already forgotten the right way to say it. Oh, El Hashemi. That was what it was. El Hashemi.
Yes. And yet, when it came to picking sides between him and
Elenine, I guess. Elenine.
Elenine, we didn't hesitate.
Okay, very good. And then finally, Johnny.
It's understandable, perhaps. With your war experience, you survived this long, I suppose, because of your ability to change sides, to serve any master.
All right. So let's figure out what we think this means. So, what do you think? Let's ask some basic questions. We don't know the answers because we haven't seen the film. I have. I know the answers. But you're going to have to make a guess, and I'll tell you how close you are. So, who is speaking? Where is he? When is he speaking? And what's going on? Who's speaking, do you think? Class. What kind of person is speaking? Make a guess.
Adult.
A what?
An adult.
He's an adult, okay.
With a lot of experience.
He's an experienced adult, okay.
Mhm.
I agree with that so far. And all of you can answer, by the way. All of you. So,
A soldier?
say again?
A soldier.
He's a soldier. Good guess, because the title is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yeah.
Right. So he's probably a soldier, or maybe
Or
a
maybe a
spy,
spy. Or maybe a spy. Yeah.
or maybe a spy. So he's an adult, he's experienced, a soldier or a spy, not a tinker or a tailor, I'll tell you that much. When do you think this takes place?
World War II.
Maybe World War II? Okay. Why do you think it's World War II, by the way?
Because you need to pass the World War I, then you will have a lot of the war experience.
Okay, yeah. So maybe
That's
he
my
had a
guess.
lot of experience from being in a war before. Could be.
Yeah.
All right. And what else did I say? And I think that's it.
Maybe in a
Yeah.
Cold War,
Maybe the Cold War. What makes you say that?
because spies were the main job, I think,
Absolutely.
to
I agree.
spy everywhere.
I agree. So I think you're right. I think it's the Cold War. And in fact, let's get some answers to those questions. So I'll do a quick search here. In the movie, I think that's George Smiley, the character, is the head of the Secret Service, if I remember right. So let's take a look. Wikipedia. Let's see if I can get it up on screen here. There we go. So there you go. The book was written in 1974 by Jean Le Carré, featuring George Smiley, middle-aged intelligent officer. So he worked in the senior service. He's middle-aged. He is recalled to hunt down. He's retired. That means he stopped working. But he's recalled to hunt down a Soviet mole in the circus, the highest echelon of the British intelligence. A mole is an animal that digs underground. A mole. They're these blind animals, mammals, that dig underground. They spend their whole life underground. Who knows what they do? Here, the mole means a person who is probably a Soviet agent inside of the British Secret Service. So he's there to try to figure out who it is. I think that's all we need to know. Do we have the time? Does it say when it takes place? Plot. In 1972, The Control. It's 1972. Wow, it's a lot later than I thought. I thought it was the 50s. Okay, but it's the 70s. So it's kind of the height of the Cold War. And that's it. So that's what it's about, just to give you a little bit of background. Now, last question. What do you think all this means? Who's he talking to? So listen to me as I go through this once more. I want to talk about loyalty, Toby. Control recruited you, didn't he? He found you starving in a museum in Vienna, a wanted man. He saved your life, I heard. And yet, when the time came, when it came to picking sides between him and Alanine, you didn't hesitate. It's understandable, perhaps, with your war experience. You survived this long, I suppose, because of your ability to change sides. I just don't know what Alanine is, even though I saw the movie, but I don't remember. I never read the book. I guess it's just a name. Alanine, Germany. Oh, maybe this is it. So it could have something to do with picking sides between the Cold War. All right. So the last question for you is, who's he talking to? What do you think, El Hashemi? What do you think? Who's he talking to, based on what we found out about the story?
I don't know. Maybe I don't have an idea.
Okay. Well, it's the Cold War.
Yes, and I understand this. It's Cold War and its experience, but I don't know With who?
And what's his job? Do you remember?
He's a spy.
He's a retired spy.
A retired spy, yes. He was a spy.
He was a spy, and they called him back into work because what do they want him to find out?
I,
Do you remember?
no, I don't.
They want him to find the Soviet agent inside of the British service.
Okay.
There's a mole. So what does that tell you? Who's he talking to then? Who do you think he's talking to? Or what's he doing? Let's put it that way. In this little monologue. Is he talking to a close personal friend? Do you think?
No.
No, of course not.
Yes.
All right. And Della, are you there? Della, are you there? Don't forget to turn your microphone on. Della, are you there? Remember, your microphone button is on the top of the screen. Okay, I don't hear you, Della. So, Johnny, who do you think he means by control? So we got the situation. We know that he's figuring out who the spy is. He says control recruiting. Who do you think control is?
Secret agent in Britain.
Say again? I can't hear you.
The secret agent in Britain.
Okay. Control recruited you. So if control recruited you, maybe control is not just the secret agent, but maybe the head of the secret agents. Maybe it's
so
the
it's
head.
a person's name.
So I would say could be the agency itself. I'm not sure, but it could be.
Okay.
And if this person or agency recruited him, last question here, and then we'll work on pronunciation. But if control is the headquarters or the main spy, and he recruited this guy Toby, what kind of person do you think Toby is? What's his job?
I think Toby is the person and his job's like the 007.
He's a spy. But who does he work for? Who does Toby work for?
He worked for the government?
Yeah, whose government? Because look, we recruited him, and we, in this case, are the British Secret Service. So Toby, is he a British citizen or not?
In my opinion, I think he's British citizen, but he might be from another country.
Yeah, I think so too. So he's probably German or Soviet, East German or Soviet, and he's been recruited to be a spy or to give information, something like that. Okay, that's the general background. Now that we know about it, let's work on pronunciation. Because if you know what they're trying to say, we can work on intonation. We can work on the emotion behind what they're trying. All right? So, let's see if we can apply some of what we've learned to this. Give me just a second. I'm going to open some material on my computer. One moment. Just a second, because my computer is now frozen. One moment. Okay. There we go. Okay, got it open. Sorry, my computer was frozen for a second. Okay, and what I'm going to do is go back to some of Unit 2 after we analyze this, and I'll give you maybe an exercise or two to show you some of what we've learned if you're new to the class. Okay? Let's say a quick hello also to Yoma, who's just joining us right now. Yomna, Youssef. So your name is Yusuf, isn't it? Not Yomna. Hello there, Yusuf? Can you hear me? Hello, Yusuf? Uh-oh. I don't hear Della and I don't hear Yosef. So Yosef, maybe you're having a microphone problem. But
Hello. Hello.
Della,
I'm
you're back.
there. Hi. I'm
Ah,
so confused. I'm confused.
yes, because you weren't in the previous class. But don't worry.
Maybe.
Don't worry. We're going to work on pronunciation. I just wanted you to first understand what's happening in the monologue. I picked
Yes.
a monologue randomly. We didn't see this before. This is our first time. Okay? So let's work on the pronunciation now.
Okay.
Okay? So what I want to do is go back. We're going to work on pronunciation, but we're going to go back to some of the things we saw a moment ago here in the mind map. Okay? For you, it's the first time, but don't worry. Okay? I'm going to help you. So what I want to do is, everyone, let's take the line that you read, and I want you to tell me, I want you to read it, I'm going to give you some feedback, and I want you to tell me if you notice anything we've learned from before in that line. For example, the H sounds, whether the H is silent or not. If there's linking sounds, this I'm sure you're going to see. If you see examples of strong and weak prepositions. And finally, if there's any phrasal verbs, we'll see if it follows, which pattern it follows. The main thing is the linking sounds, because this is speech, so you're going to hear it, linking sounds, okay? So, let's do a little bit of analysis. The first line was Daniel, right?
Yes.
All right. Read it again. I'm going to correct you if we need it, and then we're going to analyze it. So one more time, Daniel.
Okay. I want to tell about loyalty. Toby. Control recruit you, didn't he?
Okay. Look at this word.
Okay.
Look at this word. And remember, when we're... You can keep the microphone on. It's all right. But it's better just to keep it on, because I need you to speak.
Yeah, but I have a partner here.
I know, but we'll live with it. Don't worry.
Okay.
So look, listen to me and tell me what you notice different.
Okay.
I want to talk about loyalty. I want to talk about loyalty. You say it.
I want to talk about loyalty.
Maybe there's a little issue here with this, with the syllables too. How many syllables in loyalty?
3.
Exactly. Say it again.
Loyalty.
Loyalty. Again.
Loyalty.
Okay, it's pretty good. Loyal.
Loyal.
That's
Loyalty.
it. Good. And here, talk.
Talk.
Right.
I want to talk.
That's it. So, if we go back to our IPA, the k sound, this is what I want to show you. See the k sound? See where it is?
K.
Can you give me the coordinates? Do you see where it is? Column
Velar.
column 7, Caveller, right?
Row.
Row. Linea, row.
Row.
Can you see it? It says
A plus C for stop.
Plosive. Plosive means you blow out. You blow out. Now, if you remember from a long time ago, when you've got two next to each other, like k and g, the one on the left is the voiceless sound. The one on the right is voiced. Use your throat. G, g. The one on the left is I can't do that. The one on the left is the one on the right is good. So when you have two together, the left is voiceless, you don't use your throat. The right is voiced, you use your throat. You, Daniel,
Yeah.
were using your throat. That's why it sounded strange when you said talk.
Okay.
Because you wanted to go dog,
Uh-huh.
which is a very common mistake for Spanish speakers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
But the second time you get it right. So, k. Give me a word that has the sound k in it.
Cut.
K
Cut.
like cat or cut?
Cut my throat.
Okay, don't cut your throat. And maybe we need something that we can visualize. So, k. I
Key.
want an key. Good. Key's there. Look at that. It's already there. You're just reading what's on the page.
Mm-hmm.
Key. So from now on, we're going to use the word key to get that sound. Yosef wrote kite. That's a good one too. But he beat you to it, Yosef. But kite's a good one. It's the same. Yosef, give me a word that has the g sound. I need something that I can visualize, that I can touch. If you can touch it, it's easier to remember. So Yosef, since you put kite, can you give me a word that begins with the g sound? Maybe an object would be good. No? Nothing? I saw kite, and that was it. What about the rest of you, class? Give me a g sound.
Give me. Give me.
Say again?
Give me. Give me.
Not a verb, though. You see,
Okay. Okay.
not a verb. Something that we can touch, that we can visualize.
Okay.
Glass.
Glass. Glass. It's good, but I don't know if we want to put the g-l together. So
Okay.
it's good, but I don't know if I want to put the L with it. Maybe if it's
Goat.
Goat.
we have a goat. Look up here. We have a goat, don't we? Yellow goat. I don't want to confuse the vowels with the consonants because we're going to use the animals for the vowels. So, glass is good. Glove is good. I wonder if there's a word we can think of without the L, without the L in it. How about goal? As in goalpost.
Goat.
Goal! Okay. Because you can visualize. Oh, look, now Yosef is writing. He's got goat, girl, and grass. Girl we can visualize too. I'm going to go with something that is not animate. Because since we used animals for the vowels, each animal had the same name as the vowel sound. To make it easier to separate them, we're going to use things for the consonants. These will all be things. K will be key. G, I'm going to use goal, like a goal post in football. And if you have a better one, tell me. We can change it. But for now, I'm going to use that because I don't want two consonants together, like glass. It's got two consonants. I want to keep it separate. So for now, we use goal. All right. So now if we go back to page 6, now that you know what I'm doing, whoops, what's all that? So, I'm going to put a little number here to make notes like this, and in the future, you should do something similar when you've got a text. Move your mobile phone.
Far away.
Okay, but it's loud. Here's what I'm going to do. Note 1, Note 2, and Note 3. So, if you had this and you printed it out on a paper, you might want to make a note like this. K, a key. Talk.
Talk.
Note number 2. 3 syllables. 3 syllables. And you could, yeah, loyalty. And you might want to make a second note. Yeah. Loyal. Yo. So, loyalty. Loyalty. Something like that. And the third note. Now this one I don't have on this document. But remember that the past has 3 pronunciations. It's got the t, the d, and the id. If there is a t, it's pronounced tid.
Tid.
T is tid. Recruited.
Recruited.
Okay. Now, here's the main point. You need to hear this. You can't guess. You can't look at it and just guess. You need to hear someone say it. That's why I chose a film monologue, because you can watch the film. You can go to YouTube and watch a clip. And in this case, I'm going to record it for you so you can hear my voice. But one thing that you can do, print out the dialogue and make notes like this so that when you practice, it will reinforce what you're hearing. So listen to me, and then Daniel, you repeat. Listen to me. I want to talk about loyalty. Toby, Control recruited you, didn't he? Your turn, Daniel.
I want to talk about loyalty. Toby, Control recruited you, didn't he?
Did I say recruited you? Or
Recruit. Recruited.
Good. Recruited.
Recruited.
Excellent.
Recruited you.
Okay, it sounds much better. Now, if you're having trouble with the vowels, right, we could do one other thing. Recruited. What vowel sound am I using? Let's pick our animals now. Recruited. What does it sound like in this chart?
Blue human.
Blue human. Right. So I'm going to make a note like this. Because I can change the color, I'm going to put it in blue. What happened here? Let's get rid of this. Don't cross out my things, Johnny. You're crossing out my title. Don't cross it out.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, Mike, says our Kiwi. Sorry about that. Look at this. I put it in blue. Oh, I don't know if that's hard to see. I'll change the text to make it easier to see. Look, I put it in blue for you to remember that it's blue, like human, blue human, not yellow goat or whatever the other colors were. So say that, blue, recruited.
Blue recruited.
That's it. Now the whole thing, and then we're going to move on. One more time, the whole thing, Daniel.
I want to talk about loyalty. Toby.
Say it again. Loyalty.
Loyalty.
Good.
Toby, Control recruited you, didn't he?
Much better. That's it. Della, say line number 2 for us. Della, are you out there? Hello, Della. Della.
Hello, John.
Hello.
Sorry. Hello.
Okay, Della, we're gonna do
Yes.
this. We're gonna do the same with you. I want to hear you say line number 2 for us. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
I want you to
I'm
try
s-
line number 2 on the screen. Can you see it?
Hello. If one use, I have to. Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Della. Please read.
If one use number 2 or number 3.
The one you read before. What did you
Oh,
read
yes.
before? Number 2,
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
Okay.
If one you're starving in a museum in Vienna, I want a wanted man. He saved your life. I heard.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
So look at this. Look at this, Della. Here's one note I would make. It's museum. Museum.
Museum.
Good. So there's two.
Museum.
That's it. There's two things you need to change. First, museum. Two things. First, U is always like EU. Mu. That's the first thing. And the second
Mu.
is good. The second
Mu.
is the S is like a Z. Zoo. So museum.
Hello? Yes.
So say that for me. Museum with a Z.
Museum.
Mu.
Museum.
Good. That's it.
Museum.
Good. That's it.
Thank you.
So that was the one issue I heard with the museum. Found you starving a wanted man. He saved your life, I heard. Okay, let's pick a vowel here. Let's look at I heard. Okay? Now, I'm going to go back to the IPA, and what I want you to tell me is which vowel sound is similar. Now, the name of the animal is the same as the vowel sound. Like A is snake, E is sheep. So in the word I heard, I think it was I heard, right? Let's go back. Let me see it again. I forgot it. Ah, yes. He saved your life, I heard. Let's pick this word and see if we can find it in the chart. Okay, so let's go back here. Which animal on page 30, or which word matches? What do you think, Della? What do you think is the closest one? This one is not that easy, but give it a try. What do you think is the closest vowel here in the chart? The closest one. What do you think, Della? Want to make a guess? Hello, Della? I don't hear Della. So, class, help her out. I don't know what's happening. Help her out. What do you think?
Sofa.
Sofa? You mean the fa?
Yeah.
Interesting. You actually have a good point there. What do you think?
I heard sofa. Yeah.
Okay. You've got a point. And was there another idea as well? Al Hashimi?
Goat herd.
Say again? Repeat?
Goat herd. I heard.
Goat? Wait. Goat. Oh. Herd. Oh, herd. So goat is really an open sound. Oh.
Yeah.
So Johnny, you said sofa. Herd.
Yeah.
Herd.
Heard. Sofa. Heard.
But it's not so fur. It's so
sofa.
But
So
listen,
fur.
Johnny, you're not too far off. It's because you're in New Zealand and the R is a little different than my American R. You're not that far off, actually. Where you live, it makes sense because they don't say R, they say So heard. It makes sense, okay?
Yeah.
In the chart, the closest sound for American English, like mine, is probably red. Red leopard. Red leopard. Because
Red
listen,
leopard.
it's the with the R together. R. When you put them together, her. So it's the short sound of the letter E. Heard. He.
Heard.
Her. But but Joseph, you asked about the relation. The relation is in New Zealand or in the UK, the R is not an R, it's an sound. So I understand why Johnny's saying sofa because it'd be heard, It's not so far off where he lives. Not so far off, actually. So in American English, it's the red sound. But my goal here is to just get you used to the chart. In this case, it's quite a difficult one because the R really changes the sound. Okay? But I'm going to change this to red to remind you that it's the short sound of the letter E. And when you put it together with the R, her. So it's not exact, but it's probably closest to that. I'll put it there to make it life simple. Okay, he found you starving in a museum. So, are there any links in this line? Are there any links? He found you starving in a museum in Vienna. A wanted man. He saved your life, I heard. Are there any words that end with a vowel? Let's start there. Any words that end in a vowel?
Wanted.
Wanted ends with a vowel?
Vienna.
Oh, really?
So Joseph wrote go. Vienna. Where's go? I don't see go. In line 2, I don't see go. Maybe you're writing from another point, another sentence. You said Vienna, and you're right. So, Vienna, a wanted man. Is there a link? What do you think, Daniel? Listen to my voice and tell me. Joseph, don't be sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. By the way, you should turn on your microphone so we can hear your lovely speaking voice. You should turn on your microphone and say hello. Daniel, listen to my voice and you tell me if there's a link or not. He found you starving in a museum in Vienna, a wanted man. He saved your life, I heard. Is there a link between Vienna and a wanted man? Or does it sound separate?
Wanted man. Separate.
It is separate because it's two ideas, so there's no link. So what we learned was, for the linking sounds, right, the link is only when there's no comma. So this rule can't apply. So there's no link here. There is a link in the sentence, though. It's not one we talked about, but there is one. He found you starving in a museum in Vienna. He found you starving in a museum in Vienna. Can you hear the link? He found you starving in a museum. He found you starving in a museum. Can you hear the link that I'm making?
In a museum.
In a, that's right. So in a is one.
Found you.
Say again? Found?
He found you.
Found you.
Found you.
That's it. So found you equals found plus you. Found you.
Found you.
I guess I should put in the N to be really clear. Found you. Something like that. And C, the last one, would be in a becomes in a. Maybe I can write it like that. In a. In a. So we're going to put here, found you, put my A. In a museum, put my B here. And then finally, oh, sorry, this is my A. Let's move this down a little bit. Move this to C. Whoops. Museum we're going to call C, where I corrected Della. And finally, D will be down here. Just to remember that it's the short sound of, whoops, short sound of E. Okay. So Shemi, you were the third. Could you read that again? The third line? Shemi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Can you read the third line again, please?
Okay. And yet, when the time came, when it came to picking sides between him and Lenin,
I think it's alanine, I think.
Alanine, you didn't hesitate.
Okay. Good. Listen to me and tell me if you hear a difference. And yet, when the time came, when it came to picking sides between him and alanine, you didn't hesitate. You hear any differences?
Between what and what?
Between your pronunciation and my pronunciation.
Okay.
Do you hear any differences?
Please repeat it.
Sure. And yet, when the time came, when it came to picking sides between him and alanine, you didn't hesitate.
Okay. Between. I said between. You said between.
Yeah. So A, between him, it's as if there's a silent H between them because they're linked.
Okay.
And maybe one more, I'll put B down here. Is there a silent H at the end for the word hesitate?
No, hesitate. I said hesitate.
Yeah. But you said, it's okay, you did say hesitate, you're right. You did. But I just want to say there's no silent H here. So, regular H. But you said hesitate instead of hesitate. So I would just correct you on it's again the short sound. Just that. Hesitate. Like red. Short E. Hesitate. So, I have to stop the class in just a minute, but I have time just to hear you one last time. So, El Hashemi, listen to me, pay attention to those 3 points, and repeat. And yet, when the time came, when it came to picking sides between him and alanine, you didn't hesitate. You try.
I recall the phrase. And yet, when the time came, when it came to picking sides between him and alanine, you didn't hesitate.
Very good, very good. And if you want, you can even drop the H completely out of between them. We don't even hear the him. It's between them. Between them. That's it. That's it. Okay. So listen, everyone. That was just a little taste of how you can use the mind map and the IPA to help you as a text. Oh, is my camera on? There we go. I'm going to stop the class now because we have to do the business class next. So I'm going to start that class. But I'm going to record this text for you to practice with. And you can also work on the using the mind map to analyze the text. I'll be happy to correct your analysis. And I'll be happy to listen to the final version after you've practiced it. You can do it in the next class, or you can record it and send it. All right, but I'll send you instructions later today. So that's it for now. I'll be back in just a minute for the business class where we're finishing up our facts and figures unit.